Welcome to Satya, your podcast on spirituality and spiritualizing the daily life. My name is Sana, and today I will speak with Adriana Luptakova. Adriana has been exploring semantics, art, Ayurvedic psychology, alchemy and Tantra for 14 years in the search for the essence of togetherness. She holds workshops on emotional alchemy, and today we explore Eros as an emotion. Welcome, Adriana.
Thank you very much,
I'm
Sana.
very happy for you to be here and to continue this journey about Eros, the era of Eros. And today we will speak a bit about emotional alchemy and Eros. But before we dive into the subject, I would like to ask you, as I do with most people that come on the podcast, what does spirituality mean for you?
Spirituality is about the journey to the world that is beyond the visible one, and essentially finding the essence of my being in it, and making some steps on this journey and discovering. And usually it is associated with this feeling of like fire, because our soul and then ourself, they have this fire in nature. And then when we feel a feeling of aspiration, that's also a fiery one. So it is this Ariadne thread that is, I am using it to guide me to find the destination that I'm looking for. And then, for example, right now in this moment, if I succeed to be fully connected to my heart, then my soul should express itself through my voice, and then becoming like this blossoming and being available for the other people to feel it. So these are my aspirations, and this is what I would like to achieve.
That's very beautiful aspirations.
And I want to know also you, what is spirituality for you?
Oh, you're putting me on the spot here. I think we leave that for another episode.
Okay. Because there is also that aspect that we are entangled. And then when we know about one another, then we can connect better. And the answer is always different depending on who is asking.
Yeah, and I feel every time when I ask this question, every time I feel like, yes, I can relate to that. So it's even though the answers are different, like for me, they're all somehow resonating with my heart and how I also feel it. For me, it's a journey to know myself more and to know God. And I think it can encompass many things depending on where I am in my life, where I am at that moment in time. And that's probably also why I can easily relate to whatever the other person answers to this question. And how does, because we will be talking about Eros, how does Eros fit in spirituality for you?
With Eros, there is this feeling of wanting to be together, of wanting to be united. And oftentimes it is a driving emotion for me. Like I want to feel together with other people. And then learning about Eros and attracting it to my life helps me to fulfill this aspiration of my heart to be together, to be united. And there are many different aspects of Eros. Like we can experience Eros with God, for example, or with something super sublime and doesn't necessarily happen to fusion on the physical plane. And then that will be, and that is a fulfillment, a spiritual fulfillment. So definitely part of the spirituality and one of the strongest forces that can help us to propel ourselves forward. So it cannot be omitted.
And you're also working with emotional alchemy, because this is kind of what we will be speaking about today. Can you say a little bit about emotional alchemy?
Yes, I have actually started to investigate into the emotional alchemy when I had big problems in the couple relationship, and I couldn't see any way forward. And I noticed that what was causing the problems were these emotional states that were very intense, and I could not control them. And I was somehow expecting from my lover to help me with this. And he was not really interested in that. And then I realized, all right, so it's a time that I learn something about this myself, and I start this journey. And then through resonance, as I evolve, I will also attract to me the beings who are also interested in this, and then we can start this transformation together, also on the emotional plane. And now, when you talk specifically about alchemy, it is about starting with what we have now, very similar to tantric path. We take what's the situation right now without trying to make it look a bit more beautiful, a bit more suitable for the others to see also, but bringing this radical honesty. All right now I'm feeling anger, and why to masquerade it for something else? Better to really become aware of it and learn to navigate in this emotional landscape, and being able to to realize which emotions are tightly associated with the ego, and they are just some kind of patterns, reactions to the situations, and which emotions are the ones who are bringing me closer to my heart. And then through that journey, actually, we become more and more aware of ourselves, and also discovering the others, because they similarly are in all kinds of patterns. And then we go from these automatisms that they exist on the physical plane for sure. We have routines, but we also have emotional routines. And then if we want to be really authentic, that we need to exit these routines to have some deeper emotions that are more real, and that are not just like some kind of manipulation that we learned as a child. And I was like, now when mommy sees that I'm sad, she's gonna do what I want. And then we tried also later with all kind of other situations. And then, yeah, that's throwing this kind of emotional tantrums. It's quite immature. So our ideal would be to to know ourselves very well on this emotional plane and be able to also make some steps into more and more sublime emotions, more and more universal emotions, and also towards those that are at the same time the godly attributes. So in the godly attributes, we can feel the emotions of God, how He is feeling. And if we are able to remove all these kind of filters that we put there into our emotion and creating emotional patterns, then we can experience that purity and that essence of that godly attribute, and then we are in the God's heart in that moment. So it's having a relationship with God, actually.
I like that. Yeah, and you're also saying this example of anger and not to mask it or hide it and to just be honest about it. And I noticed in myself that when I start feeling like just a little bit of resentment or a little bit of resistance, and then I keep it in and it just builds up, and then eventually it becomes anger. It's not like it's anger from the start. And so it's like this catching it already before it's there somehow. Yeah.
Yes. Yes, this is very good strategy. Because
Not
then
easy
you can
necessarily.
have all kind of explosive manifestations that are much more difficult to control when it
Yeah.
builds up and comes with a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how does Eros fit in this picture of emotional alchemy?
Well, Eros is one of the 9 emotions that I am working with, and I am making workshops about them. So it will be one of the facets to get to know very well. It's like we have some basic colors, and if you're a painter, you want to buy some of your basic color set, and then you can combine them together and create a beautiful painting. And in the emotional alchemy, you would learn about each color and color stream of the emotions. And then you can paint with them the painting that it's really beautiful and sublime. And then in this process of getting to know each color, we also get to know when that color is pure and when it is mixed in with some grays and some whites, and then it's very, very diluted, very weak. And for that, we need to know the other colors. So it will not be enough just to know one color if you want to be a painter. Or maybe if you can be some kind of painter that only focuses on one color. But if you want to have the full picture, then you need to know also the other colors. And when, for example, we get the color of anger and it blends in with the Eros, uh, it will be impossible to keep that pure Eros color. And that will be in our aura, and that will be in the painting that we want to paint. And it will not be so sublime anymore. And we will have that danger of being pulled back down into the level of the ego and into the sexual energy. So knowing the emotional alchemy can help us very much already on this emotional plane, to be able to control our manifestations and to invest our potential that we have of creation as a human being, this procreative potential, invest it so it raises upwards towards the sublime heights of Eros on these wings of Eros. Instead of being pulled down by the inferior vibrations to these lower spheres. And now we have, as tantrics, we have many techniques to do this. We have wonderful hatha yoga techniques that help us with elevating our energies. But the awareness and the consciousness is superior. So if we catch it on the higher plane, if we catch it on the emotional plane, and there is a problem on the emotional plane, and we can solve it directly there, it's much more efficient, and we can tackle the problem much faster than if we would want to address it from the physical plane and maybe being a little bit in the denial of the problem also and trying to push it aside. It could take very long. It could take several relationships until we are able to solve it, and maybe even several lifetimes. So why to lose time with this if there is something available that could be so instantaneous, actually, because the emotions they flow, they are not static, and we can make them flow in the direction that is beneficial for us. I want to add to this that there could be a strategy of trying to solve the problems from the physical plane where it's very concrete and we can touch things, and we have this feeling that yes, we are working, and then there could be the opposite approach where we try to catch the things too high, where they are too much in the air and we don't have the grip of consciousness there yet. So it could be an approach, yes, we have a problem in the couple relationship. Let's meditate on the Supreme Self, Atman, and everything will be solved because emotions are somehow in the middle, and like, let's not lose time with that. And then, like, some beings, of course, they are capable of that, but some are not. And this would be a denial, and again, it will delay the whole process of solving the issue. So for me, the best approach is to go somewhere where you still have the grip of the consciousness and somewhere on the limit. So sometimes you are aware and sometimes you are not. And then you work there intensely, and like this, you extend that field of awareness. And that itself is the spiritual path. And here it could be very stable, and you can make a small gradual progress, like building up step by step, increasing like you are building a building. And then it will remain there if it is gained like this, and there are no gaps of awareness in between. It will not collapse just like that. That it can, if we have a moment of grace and we reach up very high, and afterwards we cannot sustain that state because there are some steps missing. So this emotional alchemy for me, for my evolution, it helps me to create these intermediary steps, so my edifice of the spiritual evolution is stable and it holds.
So what you're saying is to not choose something too high, but also not to choose something too low in order to really evolve and to transform the blockages or issues that are there.
Yeah.
How do we know that we're not choosing too low? Because it can be easy to just stay there and like, ah, yeah, this is comfortable, and I can notice some little, maybe some little modifications happening, but it's not really taking you out of the pattern fully.
Um, yeah, well, exactly this, by seeing the results. So if you see that the results are minimal, that the states of uh, low emotional states are recurring, that and again I'm angry, and again I'm angry, and it didn't help me, this tapas of 49 days of what I have chosen to do. There could be some other kind of work needed, and it's needed to dig a little deeper, and make some extra efforts, not necessarily in doing something what we did and double and triple and quadruple the time, um, because perhaps we are not addressing what we need to address. Like it's not helping. Like it's helping a little bit, maybe some other aspect of our being, but not exactly the issue that we wanted to target.
Do you think it's possible to fully remove anger from our being? Because isn't it also still somehow an indicator of, okay, we need to transform something, or something in our life is not um, aligned, or however you want to say?
Yes, we are attached to the anger, for example. Some people can be attached to fears.
Yeah.
Some people can be attached to sadness, and depends on the personality. And
Mhm.
then you find something good that that emotion brings you, that you feel that you need, and then you are not sure how otherwise will you get it. So anger is very activating emotion. So you would not want to miss out on that impulse of doing something if otherwise you don't have so much willpower and you are a little passive person. Then that anger um, seems to be helping,
It's useful,
or
yeah.
you feel very weak, and then when you get angry, you can protect yourself.
Mhm.
And with sadness, for example, um, it gives us this state of receptivity. Like we can feel so much, and it's so intense, and yeah, the artists love it, because they can have access to such intense emotions. And sadness is not so difficult to get to. Like it's available, it's low, it's a lot of it around. You can tap into it easily. That common kind of sadness. And the problem is how to get out of that frequency of emotions that are available: fear, sadness, anger. They are in huge quantities, they are all around us. Not difficult to get resonate with them. So they are beings who have abolished the resonances with these energies, and it could be in the form of tapas, it could be in the form of vow, but it has to happen when the structure is prepared for it. With anger, would be very good to have ahimsa tapas, non-violence tapas for several years, for example, and then you can totally get rid of it. Or you can aspire to get rid of it, but not beat yourself up when it appears.
I'm very curious because with sadness, I can see, yes, the alternative is maybe happiness. But then for anger, there is still also this godly wrath, like this what you even see manifested in nature, or and I wonder how that relates to this lower anger that we experience.
So far, I haven't heard of godly attribute of godly anger. It hasn't been revealed. There is courage, and they are very similar in their resonance. Sometimes we can easily mix it up. We go to do something, and then we um, prepare ourselves up for it by generating anger. And then we have a feeling that we are courageous because we can just go, shout, and scream and go whatever is necessary to do to protect ourselves or somebody else. But there are other ways of doing it. There are non-violent ways of protecting someone that I consider being superior. There are ways where you can defend yourself in the conversation, which is like a mental battle, through intelligent arguments. So it's the consciousness that protects you in that moment. And the anger that we experience, of course, to a certain degree, it's helpful for a low level of consciousness when we are in the situation really that it's about dying or surviving, and then some aggressive action can save our life or somebody else's life. But in most of the cases, in our ordinary ways of living, this situation don't come up, and we can cultivate our reactions, our ways of acting, actually, without reacting, just acting, and to bring it to the higher octaves, and to actually bring some beneficial impulses and be the agents of transformation like this.
So then I wanted to ask you, because in the event description, it says there for the emotional alchemy of Eros, there's this subtitle of Shringara Sadhana. And I was curious what that means. I never heard of this word. So I was wondering if you could say a bit more about this.
Sure. Shringara is a Sanskrit word, and it is one of the 9 rasas. These are used in art, and they are known in Indian aesthetics, and they're studied until now, until this day and age. There was a very famous exponent of the aesthetics, Abhinavagupta, who is also known in Shaivism, and the rasas existed also before him, but he put it in the very nice comprehensible system and wrote some treatises about it. And we are taking so each rasa in turn, and then we are discovering this universal dimension. And we have an emotion that is still very personalized, and we take it as it's ours, and we grip onto it very tight. And this is at the level of the ego. That's the personality that is still very limited. And then when we are able to raise ourselves to that level where the emotions become more universal and then relatable for the others around us, like it happens in the theater play, for instance. the emotion there is used in this form of rasa, where it is pure and sublime, and it generates in the audience the elevated state that they didn't have before they viewed the play. And it brings them out of the ordinary, out of the common, mundane preoccupations into, it's like a rocketing into this sublime heights of spirituality. And that's how the entertainment used to be back in the days. Maybe we should bring it there again. And there are also some artists who are aiming for this, painters and also film producers. So this is wonderful that this is happening. So with this, we can say that we can reach the soul level, where it's still individual. We still have our expression that is unique for us, but it is not anymore so clingy like it was at the ego level. And then the third step up from there is towards the revelation of the Supreme Self. And the emotional alchemy can help us in this progression from the ego to the soul and back to the heart of God.
So you are saying about that people used to view plays and that this would elevate them to higher emotions. If people want to contemplate erotic arts, how would you say to discern what is like really this pure eroticism, and where sometimes you also see paintings or artworks that are actually a lot more sexualized? Like, what tip would you give to discern this or to differentiate the two?
The feeling that you have when you are in front of that artwork, when you approach it. And if it is sexualized, oftentimes there will be blend in other low frequency vibration. Disgust, for example, very common in the contemporary art. There could be fear, there could be violence. And
How about
so, yes,
how about lust?
lust. Yes, also that one. It's I want this for myself, that kind of feeling, and for my own satisfaction. And I don't care very much about the other one. How do they feel in this situation in which they were put in? And I don't care so much about their soul, about their meaning of life, why they came here, how they are fulfilling this voice of the heart that whispers them to do something, and how I can help them to achieve that. Transfiguration, this is one of the big factors too, because this erotic rasa is deeply connected with love and also with beauty and transfiguration. So everything that we view and that we look at it and wow, it's really beautiful, and it's like radiating that beauty back on us, that will be erotic art for sure. And this feeling of fulfillment, and also that it's light. It's that's how we recognize, because Eros is connected with water, and the water element gives us the possibility to blend. When we want to dissolve something, we dissolve it in the water in the physical world, and on the emotional plane, this also happens. We can dissolve the boundaries so we can fuse together. But then it also has to have these other components, that it has to be elevating. And the elevating sublime feeling is that it's light, and it's not bringing you down into the material gross form, but like you want to discover everything what is there to discover, and it is towards everything that is refined and beautiful.
Yeah, that's a very good answer. And lastly, before we finish, I want to ask you about the benefits of this emotional alchemy with Eros. On who would benefit from this?
Me and you and everybody else. um, uh, what I really love about it is that it creates intimacy. We don't need to hide and filter away some unpleasant emotions, but we are together, and we are not scared if it happens that suddenly occurs a little sadness there, and then we can remain together with it, and we say it in tantra, we sublimate it, we find a way to be integrated in this whole picture as something beautiful. And with sadness, it could go into longing. And then that longing will bring us to the sublime heights together. So the intimacy is one. The relationships could be much more long lasting because we would just not have to dispose them because they get contaminated with some emotion that we just don't like, and it's just too much, and that's it. Oh, we transform it, and it's one of the super amazing modalities for couples to transform together through this being emotionally intimate and working with the emotions together. It's such a vast resource that we have there, and in the couple relationship especially, through polarity, they get amplified and they get so intense, and then it's upon us to orient them the right way, and it could be really genuine engine. So we create beautiful emotions between us, love. We cultivate love. And then we grow together in it, and then we blend and fuse into one another, learning from each other. And it's a really, really wonderful journey. Yes.
Mm. I like it. Thank you, Adriana, for this beautiful, uplifting sharing and sharing about this emotional alchemy and about Eros and your view on spirituality and life. It's very inspiring
You
for
are
me.
super welcome. And I want to hear your sharing too, yours and everybody else who is listening. And also will be really wonderful to connect. Could be through the Telegram group that we have uh, about the emotional alchemy. Maybe we see each other in one of the workshops, or maybe somewhere in the community.
Yeah, I will add the Telegram group in the description of this episode. So you can
Amazing.
just join the Telegram group if you would like to know more about emotional alchemy and connect directly with Adriana.
Yes, and then we spread the Eros, and then we learn about it on different levels. because on this affective plane, when we talk about sublime emotions, it's already bringing us to the heart. So it's at the reach. It's very easily at the reach. And we can do this together.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I hope you like this episode and feel inspired to bring this approach towards Eros into your daily life and relationships. In the description, you will find all the necessary links and information to get in touch with Adriana or to join one of her emotional alchemy workshops.